Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. That run started off a little shaky anyway, with me not killing that guy. So, first instance of going back to title and resuming. Saves a lot of backtracking. Use that later to save a lot of time also. But what we picked up was a weapon called the Nova Cannon. It is used on the return trip through this hallway because it kills those enemies in 2 shots, and it's used to open a door. That is the only time you'll see this weapon used. Mostly because its damage output is very low compared to our main blaster. Here's the first boss. It's really simple, just stand on the corner of this block. All of his bullets will miss you. And then once he starts doing this attack, you just kind of follow him, getting free shots. If you position correctly, you can do that fight without getting hit at all, but I was slightly too far forward. I picked up a couple things there, got the drill power up, and got the damage node, which makes it so you not only do you do more damage, it actually lets you drill faster, which is pretty cool. And I fire a bunch down these long hallways, not because there's going to be enemies hidden anywhere, but just so I can keep up the rhythm of firing. Because for at least for me, if I mash super fast, I don't fire. I'll sometimes skip over shots, so I just kind of keep a rhythm going. What I don't get is if the enemies really wanted to kill me, why don't they just run through the tunnel? Like there's, as far as I know, there's nothing stopping them. But they're just like, oh, you went through that tunnel. Nope. I'm not going there. There's bad stuff on the other side of that tunnel. Okay, the only other weapon we'll use in this run, the Kilver. It shoots through walls, and it's a nice AoE damage. Useful for killing small insects. Since it's short range and not as fast as the Axiom Disruptor, we won't be using it in too many boss fights. We'll use it for a quick kill later, and we'll use it in the boss coming up. But that's just to get some hits in while we damage boost through him. Let's see, it should be that one that drops health. No. Not only does Kilver pierce walls, it also pierces enemies. So we can use it to do the damage boost here and get some crit shots in. And I actually enjoyed this run a little bit more when I'm explaining what's going on. The commentary makes me think about all the neat stuff in the game. So, the tool I picked up just now is the Address Corruptor. And it lets you do cool stuff to the environment. You saw me spawn some platforms earlier. You can corrupt enemies with it, and they'll change their properties. You'll see that coming up. There's certain enemies that will all get corrupted at once, and then you can destroy multiple at the same time. These green enemies. I let him float up so I could kill one of the spiders up there, avoid taking some damage. It's a little bit slower, but corrupting the green enemies kind of links them all together, so if you kill one, you kill all of them. And it makes going through that room really simple. Nifty passageway. And then make a slight detour for a damage node. You pretty much want to get every damage node you can during the run, because it significantly speeds up boss fights. If I remember correctly, there's 3 different types of power-ups. There's health nodes, damage nodes, and size nodes, but I don't think you pick up any size nodes in the any percent route. They just increase the size of your shots. And in some cases the range, I believe. Like for Kilver, naturally increasing its size increases its range, since it's a conical. More nifty hidden passageways. these enemies like to hide up in the ceilings. If you're fast enough, you can get them in one cycle. Kill that enemy off screen, and then just slowly make your way forward. I like to kill that one just because it drops extra health. I'm still rather new to this run. I've only put probably 20 hours of practice into it, so I still do some of the safe strats. I think the current world record for any percent does a damage boost in this room, so they can avoid killing these turrets. A lot of little time savers that I still haven't practiced enough to really put use into. There's another use for the address corruptor. Normally these purple crawly guys will fire lasers, and when they're red you take a lot of damage from them, but if they're blue they don't hurt you, and they'll also destroy terrain. So that's how you use it to work your way through it. It's faster and a lot safer. I'm not sure on actual damage numbers, but oh man, I took a lot of damage in that room. This room doesn't normally give me problems. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong there. I'll probably just... okay. Ate all my jump inputs, I guess. I'll just take it slowly and take these guys out at long range. Excuse me. Still getting over a little bit of a cough. Okay, that was pretty dangerous, and I definitely lost a lot of time for that, but I want to try and get a full run completed, so just keep going with it. I might be able to make up time elsewhere. A nice little time saver, if nobody's picked up on it yet, is that when you shoot an enemy, they'll be stunned for a couple frames. I think it's probably like 2 frames, 2 or 3. But when you do that, they will stop moving, and that's how I was able to just kind of slip under those wall jumpers. A lot of the bosses early on, once you get into a sweet spot, they're pretty much no threat. I'll always say that the biggest threat of that boss is him exploding, because I always have a hard time remembering where the platforms are. And I have jumped, fallen, because I missed the platform, and just kind of sat in that poison and died. It's pretty embarrassing, but I've done it before. So, what we picked up in that room was this magical lab coat that lets you phase through one-block walls. And later on we'll get upgrades to the lab coat, which really increase our mobility. But for now we just kind of Metroid Syndrome and use it to get to the next area where we get more upgrades. Yeah, we're back here. Hope you missed the music. It's one of my favorite tracks in the game. I think it's faster to traverse this area normally, unless you're really precise with your jumps, because you will lose probably half a second on each of those jumps if you overshoot it. But I just like the safety. So we get to use the lab coat, get another damage node, and then we get to see a magical place called Outside. The music in this game is really good. It's one of my favorite soundtracks. These little rock dinosaur turtle things do tons of damage. And the only way you can kill them at this point in the game is with the drill. One of your lab coat upgrades later on, I believe, can kill them, but I don't think you actually run through this area with the lab coat in any percent. You might in 100%, but I don't know the 100% route. Oh yeah, 2 points. I don't know basketball analogies, so I'll just shout out random sports terms. A little bit of a tricky jump there, but let you skip a kind of boring section where you have to use the new upgrade we got, which is the drone launcher. Yeah, the drone launcher. Drone launcher launches out this cute little head crab robot. If you include the drone launcher, there's 3 drone upgrades. Drones look like head crabs. Half-Life 3 confirmed. Sorry, had to make the Half-Life 3 jokes. and I said it earlier in stream, but to quote another runner of this game, I believe G-Virus, this is a love letter to Super Metroid, but Thomas Hopp, the guy who made this game, couldn't have all the similarities, so instead of a morph ball, you get a drone. But the drone ends up being a core in the movement tech later on. Okay, we get to use the title screen warp again. So, what we just did was upgrade the address corruptor, and then warped back to the very first save point in the game, where you start. And that lets you skip, I think in a casual playthrough it took me 2 hours to get back here. I think in a speed run you might be able to get back here in an hour. But now that we have an upgraded address corruptor, we can clear out green corruption walls. And that lets us go to the next area, which is... I'm not going to pretend I know the area names without looking at a map. I want to say Ukenda, but I don't know if that's right. I just remember it as the green area where you fight Vision. So, welcome to the green area. Later on I'll be fighting Vision. And I guess I actually do use Kilver a lot in this area. I'm not sure if it's personal preference to use Kilver or the Axiom Disruptor. Oh no, it's me. There's a lot of story stuff that goes on in here outside of speedrun mode, but Trace, the guy you're playing as, he keeps seeing this guy that looks exactly like him, and we're basically chasing him through this area. And as we go deeper, we start to hallucinate more. Oh no, missing now. I remember one time I was corrupting those floating guys, and I managed to cause one to fly out of bounds, and I was pretty sure that he was going to come back later and kill me. Just fly out of somewhere in the game's memory and just kill me when I was having a good run. Luckily that didn't happen. And in fact I think it was this one that I caused to go out of bounds, which is not very good for me, because he drops health. Evil wall heads that always make me think of Metroid Fusion. Kill little mine guys. Don't get caught by Mr. Grabby Hands on the wall. They do a lot of damage, so do the ghosts. And this is where I get to take a little bit of a break in this run. So, you may be wondering, there's boss music playing, but that boss isn't doing anything. Well, you're actually the boss. And... oh, I died. Run over. But basically, you hallucinate so much that you think you're the boss, and the hallucination, I guess, kills you. But everything's all good. You got saved by that scary head in the background. I think her name is Ophelia. I haven't played with the cutscenes on in a while, so I'm a little bit shaky on the storyline. But if you notice, I did the title warp and ended up not back at the first save point. And if I remember correctly, excuse me, that's just something that Thomas put in to make sure the heat wave effect went away. That way the rest of the game could be playable. So you don't actually have to save at that save point in order to warp back to it, which is nice. When I was first learning the route, I still saved there, just to have a place to go back to in case I died during the vision segment. And here's the trench coat, which, for anybody that's played a Mega Man X game, I get to double tap right a lot now, because there's no dash button, but now we get to dash and warp through two tile thick walls, and we don't have that wind-up time now. And this is now the primary movement tech for the rest of the run. Let's see. Here's our stop. You can go through 2 tile thick vertical walls and 1 tile thick horizontal walls with the dash. Off screen because it's safe. And to dash. I did not mean to aggro him. He might mess up my damage boost here, so get hit. Dash through that wall. You don't want those floaty orbs to grab onto you, because they'll do a lot of damage and just multiply. But we're at the boss that I don't have timestamps on my chat, but I got called a noob and Kappa, so I know who that is. Shoutouts to you. But this used to be a pretty tough spot in the run for me until I learned this really consistent setup. So, this is the quick kill. You are not meant to fight that boss this early on. But you're able to turn his little bees that he summons into bombs and blow them all up at once using Kilver. And there you go. So title screen warp back to here. And move on to the next set of item collection. And I actually didn't say what I got from that boss, but it lets you switch places with your drone. And you can cancel the refresh rate of the drone, because normally you have to wait a bit before you fire it. But you can cancel it with the address corruptor to go a lot farther than was intended. Actually messed up by getting hit there, but just juggle drone teleport, and they were good. And this is the last of the drone upgrades, which is the improved drone launcher, and I'm always need to make sure not to warp to that drone, otherwise you lose a bunch of time. And this is where drone teleport movement really shines. So I'm actually really nervous about doing this area because I do not have a good clear rate of it. Kill this guy for some safety health. But even though I'm not good at this part of the run, this is my controller decided to dash. Even though this was probably the most difficult part of the run for me, it's one of my favorites because it's where you get to show off a lot of the movement tech with the drone launcher. Just want a little bit of safety health. Okay. Here we go. Oh man, I never get that on the first try. Oh, sick. This is the part where I always die, because if you mess up the setup, those floating turrets do a lot of damage. I got hit twice and lost a good third of my health. But oh my god, did I go to the wrong spot? I totally went to the wrong spot. Yep, okay. So that's a key that opens up the rest of this area. Pick up the rest of that safety health and be on our way. appreciating the emote spam, John. Put a smile on my face. Ah, Kappa Pride. I love Kappa Pride. Kappa Ross. You know the emotes that make me happy, that's for sure. Okay. Drone died, but I was able to kill him, so it's okay. Your drone recovers health when you're not using it, but these guys stay stuck on you. Okay. That's the scary part of this room. Those rock guys, you can just stand under their jumps and be fine. Okay, coming up on the, I believe the last upgrade we get. And it's another upgrade to our coat, but it makes it so your dash does damage and goes 3 tiles. Back to title screen one last time. On to the final stretch. I honestly don't know if this is going to be a PB or not. I lost a lot of time in the temple, but... and I guess technically this run isn't over yet. I have one more boss I have to deal with. The door. But as you can probably see, you move a lot faster once you have the red coat. You also become British. Oh, right. The other important part of the red coat, it breaks blocks. safety save. Kill that enemy just so he shouldn't respawn. And I don't take damage going back through this room. Okay. And this is Sentinel. Dash into the floor a bunch to avoid taking damage. You can be killed by those bullets if you have low enough HP. That has happened to me before. Okay, Sentinel's down. Get the last health upgrade. And make our way to the final boss. One more safety save. Pretty sure if I dash, yep. If you mash dash when you go through the door into that room, you get to dash through it during his spawning cutscene. Saves a lot of time. Okay, worst room in the game. Disco Ball Land. Save because I took a lot of damage going through that room. I honestly don't know if I'm going to beat my personal best on this run. Final boss. Okay. I somehow skipped the boss starting trigger. Never done that before. Okay. And that's the run. Okay, I honestly have no clue if that's a personal best or not. 45:34, huh? I guess we'll see. Alright, Steam is in offline mode because it wasn't connecting earlier. So, I'm pretty sure that my time isn't going to be recorded to the leaderboard, but it was only 4 seconds better than my personal best. If I didn't make a lot of mistakes in the temple, I probably would have been 30 seconds or a minute ahead, but I don't think 4 seconds is enough time to bump me up a spot on the leaderboards. But hey, got a run done. It only took 2 tries, so I'm gonna be done for now. My throat's starting to hurt from all my talking, but I'm glad I was able to do commentary. It actually made this run a lot more enjoyable. Thanks for watching, John, because I think you're my only viewer, but hopefully other people will watch this in my past broadcasts. I might as well highlight it as a 45:34 personal best. But, yeah. Thanks. I might do another run. No, I'll probably do another run tomorrow. I actually had a lot of fun doing this. I'm surprised. But thanks for watching.